Since the day I started the journey with God, since the day I accepted Christ, one thing that a lot of people have shared to me and I have also experienced in my life is journeying with God is not very easy. And especially when I joined my theological studies, the journey with God became more difficult. It was like I know that I was called by God. I know that somehow down the line, God has set me apart from others to serve Him. But still, when challenges came, a lot of time I have asked this question: did God really call me into ministry? Did God really call me for Him? Because of the circumstances, the challenges around me, many times it was difficult for me to understand that God has really called me. And in fact, many people have also shared the same experiences. And many students in Bible college have also went through the same thing and are also going through the same thing. And even in our college, the students, especially the first years, you have just joined the college. And you have joined the college because I believe you have got some call or you have got some confirmation that God has called you to serve Him. That means God has separated you from others to serve Him. And as you have joined, I want to tell you this: you will also face different challenges in life, and you might also ask the same questions like I and many people have asked. Did God really call me? Or maybe the final years might have experienced a lot of these kinds of situations where a time came when you might have asked the same questions. And in fact, some of the students have also asked me the same questions like, did God really call me? Because of the circumstances around them, which was very difficult sometimes to handle. And therefore today, I thought of encouraging all of us by sharing from the topic, He who calls you is faithful. He who calls you is faithful, which is taken out from 1 Thessalonians 5:24, where it says, He who calls you is faithful, who also will do it. He who calls you is faithful, who also will do it. That means God has called us, and which means He has called us to finish the race. He did not call us so that He will leave us behind, but He has called us so that He will make sure that we finish the race as long as we don't give up in this journey. I remember my first theological journey or my walk with God in the ministry. I applied for my theological studies in Bangalore in the year 2007. And I was very sure that God has called me into that college. But what happened was, my application was rejected. And now I had some friends down there who were also studying. So I wasn't in touch with them. And then they said that the pre-theology was started. And then it went on. And then after 1 month, I have already given up. I told my mom and my dad, I think God doesn't want me to study theology. So I think I might go for another profession. But anyway, I will serve God from whatever profession I am. But I think I'm very sure God hasn't called me into ministry full-time. So in a time like that, what happened was the pre-theology in the college where I was trying, they have already completed the study, and then they have also started a regular class. And by the time I talked with my friend who was down there studying at this time, he said that the class was already started, and then it's been already 1 week. So by then, you can imagine how I must have feeling. I have given up my hope, I'm done, and I was like, I don't want to study nearby. And I'm very sure that God has called me into that. But now, all these questions started to race in my head. And one day, suddenly I got a call from the college saying that they have reconsidered my admission application, and then I was selected. That means they have decided that I should be admitted into college. So they said within 3 or 4 days I should be in the college. So hurriedly, my dad booked my flight ticket through one of his friends from Guwahati. Unlike these days, things were not easy to book flight ticket. And then me and my dad, we booked a bus to Guwahati. And as we were going, well, before reaching 7 to 10 kilometers to Guwahati, our bus got stuck. And it was already morning, 5 a.m. And then we found out that there was a truck that got stuck on the way after it made an accident, and it has blocked the road. So there was no way that we could cross that area by bus. And we waited for 1 hour. Things doesn't seem to be working. Every vehicle was still. So me and my dad, finally, we decided to walk. We took our package and then we started to walk. From 6 a.m. we started to walk. And then after half an hour, it was okay. But when it reached 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, I started to get sweat and I started to shake, shiver. And then I told my dad, Dad, I'm done. I think it's not the will of God for me to study theology. Let's go back. But my dad was keep encouraging me. And somehow after 3 hours, we reached Guwahati. And we got in auto. We went to my dad's friend's place, took the flight ticket, and we went to the airport as fast as we could. By then it was already 9:30. Unfortunately, after a few minutes drive, the outdoor tire got punctured. Now here, I have lost my hope completely. I told my dad, my flight is definitely delayed because it was supposed to be at 10 a.m. So as long as we get some refund, it's okay. So let's go back. But my dad was consistent. And what happened after this was that my dad saw another van just opposite to where we were standing on the other side of the road. So he went and he negotiated with the driver and then he took us to the airport. By the time we reached airport, it was 10 a.m., which means my flight was supposed to leave at 10 a.m. And then we were not allowed entry, saying that it's late. But then later we found out from another counter that the flight was delayed. And as we were requesting the police at the entrance, and the air hostess came and she said that the whip jack hasn't checked. So she asked me to come inside as early as I could. And then I went, I hurriedly did everything, and then she led me to the bus which was supposed to take me to the flight. And when I get inside the bus, there was an old man. Humorously, he said like this, "You are very lucky, young man. Because of you, this flight was delayed." But deep inside, I know it was the persistence of my dad. My dad who didn't give up on me when I wanted to give up. And because of that, I could able to reach there. And the same thing in our life. There will be times as you started your studies here, as you started your journey with God, getting to know about His Word, you might also want to give up sometimes. There will be time where you might also think as I think, like it's not God's will for me to study, or I may not be able to finish the studies. But remember, God is always faithful. Just like my dad was persistent to me, he makes sure that I reach where I'm supposed to go. God is with us. God always makes sure that we reach where He wants us to go. As long as we don't give up, God is always faithful. It is just that many times we are not faithful to Him. And with this, I want to encourage the students. If you are going through the same thing like I went, even in the college, there were times I wanted to give up my studies. And I wondered today, if I had given up those days, where I would be. I don't know where I would be today. Who knows, I might have already died also. I might have attacked with some drugs or so on. So the same thing, if you are also going through the same thing with question, did God really call me? Remember, when He called you to reach the end, not to leave you at halfway. Therefore, don't give up. Well, as Philippians chapter 1 verse 6 says, being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ. That in times you go through depression, in times you think, did God really call me? Remember that God has called you, and with that confidence, keep walking, never give up. As 1 Corinthians 15:58 says, therefore, my dear brothers, stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. Stand firm from what? Stand firm when you feel like giving up. Stand firm when you feel like falling into temptation. stand firm in God. When you wanted to change your profession, after studying 1 year, 2 years, there will be temptations where you might want to stop your theological studies and you might want to do some secular studies. From all those, stand firm, because all the hardships that you have taken to complete your studies, all your sacrifice that you have done in order to follow Christ will never go in vain, because the one who has called us will definitely reward us, and he will make sure that we fulfill for the purpose that he has called us for. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that God is God, who will take care of you no matter what, if you trust in him." And the beautiful thing is, when we don't give up and we walk with God, and one day, as it says in Matthew 25 verse 21, "Well done, my faithful servant." Isn't it wonderful when on that day when God will tell us, "Well done, my faithful servant." Like Paul said, "I have fought a good fight and I have finished the race." So students, as you begin your journey for the first year, no matter what comes in your life, remember, he who called you is faithful and he will do it. He will never forsake you. And therefore, don't give up. To the final years or to the second years, you have started your journey. You have passed through some challenges in your life. Still, there are more to come, but be faithful. Just like God has been faithful to you in your first years, in your second years, he's still faithful, and he will always be. May God bless all of you. Thank you.